Officers on the pursuit call. Suspect vehicle was last seen heading north near the power station. Containment will be set up ahead of his last known direction of travel. This call is still code 6. Handle on TAC 3.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Now I was on the fence of recording all of this because this video is basically going to be the small chores that I said I would do off camera in some of my previous videos all put into one. So this weekend I planned on knocking out a majority of these, if not all of these, so that we can ultimately prep or start the process of prepping the car for paint. So that's what this video is for. No specific big thing, but a lot of small things. And the next major thing would be getting ready to repaint the whole car all one color. So to go down the list of things that I have to do. ARC intercooler upgrade. It's got some different mounting points than the one I have, so I gotta mess with that a little bit, but that's one. I don't know if I'm gonna run these or not yet, so they're not on the list right now. I'll figure that one out later. Moving back, quarter or over fenders. For those that are new to the channel, or for those that have forgotten exactly how wide my car is, here's a reminder. That is the factory quarter panel, and that is my wheel, and that is my hand for measure. It's wide. I took the quarter panel off because on the list is to trim the inside quarter panel or the inside over fender. So if you've seen the video, you'll know that I made these, I molded them together, but this is basically two sets of over fender. 1, 2. This one's S14, this one's R32, and I put them together. Now I took it off because these two lips back here, I need to cut that. Just like how you would do on the regular quarter panel, I need to do that here so that there's not two lips. So I'm basically just gonna cut the original over fender's lip back farther than the new lip and then put it right back on. So that is on the to-do list. For shits and giggles, I went ahead and measured the width of these from here to the farthest out point on the lip. It's semi-inaccurate measuring, but I'm picking up between 7.5 to 8 inches wide, which is ridiculous. 7.5 inches translates to 190 millimeters, which would make sense. I believe these are 70 millimeters and these are 55, and then I bowed these out to give it a little extra. So I mean, if you do the math with that, that's already what, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 130 millimeters. So I'm gonna lowball it. I'm gonna say that it's 150 millimeters. Thinking about making a mold of these and then just selling them, because it would hands down be the widest over fender that you can get for an S14 point blank period. But still thinking on that. But yeah, that's on the list. Quarter panel or over fenders, cut that piece. This is for the tail lights, so the custom tail lights that I've made. The other side is fine. I used a different type of glue to try to hold these in place, and this one came undone. So on the list is to just get some of what I did originally, epoxy, clear epoxy, and just stick this back the way it's supposed to be. So there's that. For the trunk, we have the wing stands. So if you go back to that video, I was going to Bondo the gaps smooth right here. You can see I'm already kind of getting the plate ready so that I can Bondo over it. That's on the list as well. And I think that is pretty much it off the top of my head for the cosmetic stuff. The last thing is fluids, of course. I've already started putting fluids back into the car. I put in a decent amount of oil to make up for the cooler being drained out. And then I filled up the radiator, ran the car for a couple minutes, turned it back off. And then once this cools down, I'm going to pop off the cap and top off the radiator again, basically repeat that process as time goes on. But once we do all that, that'll be fluids, check. Intercooler upgrade, check. Cutting the fender or cutting the recorder over fender, whatever you want to call it, check. Fixing the wing, check. And then the last thing after all that is said and done will be to make sure that this car can run and drive again perfectly fine. And then we are going to attempt to take it to a car wash. So we get all of this sanded dust and everything like that off of the car. Once we get all this washed or watered down, then we can start masking and prepping for paint. That'll probably be its separate video, since this video is going to consist of all these things. Quarter panel on this side has been finished, cut, blah blah blah. There's only one lip under here, makes more room for the tire, less rub. And now you can kind of just, like, if you look through the gasket, let's see if I can get some light, put some flash on it. You can see how wide the tire actually is when you just go through there, which is also crazy. But yeah, that one is in. But what I think I'm gonna do or start doing is this intercooler, because if I do the intercooler and finish the intercooler today, along with adding some more fluid to the car and doing one half of the stand, that means that tomorrow it's just that quarter panel and the other stand, and that's it. So I'm gonna get started on this. Now, one thing that I did this morning, this is unrelated from the 240, but my daily driver is an LS430. And at some point I want to VIP this car. I don't know if I'm gonna actually like put it on the channel or not, but yeah, I don't know if I will or not yet put the LS430 on the channel. As of right now, it's stock with a muffler delete, but I picked up something today for a steal that I might feature. I'm not entirely sure about it yet, but I got these from a junkyard. Hell of a junkyard find too, by the way. These are D2 airbags. You can do your research on D2 air suspension for the LS, but I got this for 200 bucks. I have paid less than 10% the price of these, and they are in good condition. So who knows? I might do something with it on the channel. I might just do it in my spare time, but that's something else. Side note. Anyways, back to the program. I think this is pronounced Imusa. It's an eBay brand from what I know. But this intercooler is just something that I got all the way back in Illinois when I was first putting the swap together. Actually, when I put the RB20 in this car, I just grabbed the intercooler so I could get the car running. I didn't really care about it. So time to do a notable upgrade. But the biggest thing is the mounts for this one are up top right here in there, whereas the mounts for this one are on the side. And then I do actually have the bottom mounts. Now this one doesn't have bottom mounts. I had to make my own, but this one has bottom mounts. So the piping is the same size and the core is the same size. So it's really just upgrading from eBay brand to a quality brand, but same size, same pipe configuration. Everything else should be the same. It's just mounting this thing. So let's get this bumper out the way. So I looked it up, the Imusa or whatever you want to call it, E3 USA, eBay, confirmed, ARC, $100 intercooler for the kit, which was all that I was finding, roughly $1,400. And that's the difference that you got. Now, as far as the mounting, so I no longer have to use those 3-inch to 2.5-inch conversion couplings, and the green ones are factory ARC, or not factory, but like ARC's couplings are the green ones, and they're 2.5, and they fit perfectly with the rest of the 2.5-inch piping, so that's fine. The only thing is mounting it, and when I had that one mounted, I had these brackets up top, right here, bolted into this, what are these things, headlight brackets? I think I can still use those. If I loosen this, or if I actually take it out, because this is a little bit lower, it's not as tall, but if I take those out and bolt them into this hole, and then just, I'll probably have to swap them, like put this one on the other side, but take it out, lower it to that bolt hole, and then just turn this on its side, I could probably bend it to get to this on both sides, and then that'll mount it as well. So I'm gonna play around with that. I'll record whatever it is that I end up doing. Took a little bit of time, but I have been able to get it fully mounted. I had to semi-fabricate some stuff. It's not the cleanest, but it's functional. So I was able to use the black ones, which were my the ones I had on it, but I had to make an extension in order to get it to bolt up because it was a little bit wider than I expected. But it's in there, everything's connected, the pipes are connected, it's connected, it's good to go, and it's fully mounted. So that takes that off the list. I only managed to cut myself once. I tried a couple things with getting this to stick. Most of them were glue and adhesive, but those didn't work. So this is my last attempt, which is just the smallest profile flat face screw. And I'll just put some of those in the sides of it, because when the Bondo goes over it, it's gonna cover that too. And then that'll be how I get this started. So, because as of right now, nothing wants to hold it in. So we gonna go ahead and knock that out real quick. Earlier, I was looking around in this area because I had a coolant leak, but that fitting on the top radiator hose, no, actually that's the bottom one, the one that goes down. That fitting on the bottom radiator hose, I tightened that. It looks like it might have taken care of the coolant leak, but I'm gonna just keep messing with it to be for sure. And I do have the Bondo on the wing tips, stands, whatever you want to call it. The main purpose is just to cover this area up and make it not look like a hole like it did before. So I just went mass cover, but this should be ready to sand, but I'm gonna give it a little more time to cure before I go ahead and start sanding this down. What I'm ultimately going to do is, once I sand those down, I'll put the wing back on when I'm happy with the finish on that. And once the wing is back on, I'm gonna take the car, move it into the driveway, take out the second quarter panel, cut that quarter panel now that I have room from it being in the driveway. And once I put that back on, I'm gonna head to a car wash. You would have saw me getting some stuff done. I always forget to record me sanding these, but these at this point are good enough for me. I don't really care, like I've said plenty of times on this build, I don't really care for show quality. I just want it to work, and that looks like it's gonna work. And it's the same on both sides. They kind of look like bones to me, but maybe that's just me tweaking. But the gap is closed. If I wanted it to be show quality, there's a lot more sanding to do, but I don't want it to be show quality. I just want it to work. So these are getting bolted back up and putting the quarter back on, and then it's time to go, well, put the wing on, and then it's time to try and take this to the car wash. So I'm gonna knock this out. Let's go. Did me right. I can't wait to paint this. They even did the interior. I was gonna clean this myself, but it's back to, they shined it up for me. All right, here we are. After everything said and done, car is washed, clean. I can actually see out my windows, everything like that. The drive, pretty smooth, all things considered. But it was not without loss. It's just like this on both sides. The rear suspension is far too soft. If you go back to that clip of me pulling out the garage, you can see how much this wheel moves just from like a little 1-inch lip. So when I hit one of the speed bumps going out, you can hear it. And I think I edited a comment into it, but you can hear these fenders crack from the wheel coming up because the suspension is too soft. Goes back to one of my previous videos when I said that I feel like one coilover back here is blown and one coilover up front is blown. This supports it. So we cannot paint the car until we stiffen up the suspension back here, aka new coilovers. Because if I paint it now, like this is fixable. If I fix this and paint it and then drive out, it's just gonna do it again. So we're gonna get some stronger springs back here with the new coilover setup that I need to get anyway. And then we'll go for a test drive, see if it does this still. And if it doesn't, then it's paint time. So that kind of pushes the whole process back a little bit, but I need to get coilovers anyway. Another thing, for those that may wonder or may not wonder, keep in mind, one of my past videos when I did the first little semi test drive of this car, I cannot really go into second gear. So from that clip or those clips, I was mostly in first gear for that entire time. At one point I did grab third, but I never went into second. Granted, I can go into second, but it's 100% guaranteed to grind like a lot before it actually goes in. And I'd rather not do that to my transmission. The only way to fix it is to pull the transmission and all that stuff. I've explained this in a previous video, but for those that may not know, back in 2020, I bought a CD09 from a random guy for like 300 bucks. I took it to a reputable, or what I thought was reputable, shop back in Chicago, Illinois, to rebuild every single gear, every single Secro, full rebuild on all gears. They did it. I paid like 1,500 bucks. After that, took that transmission, painted it white, and then went through the rest of the process of getting the 25 Neo installed on the car. Fast forward to today, AKA 3 years later, where I'm finally able to start driving the car and second gear is grinding. At first I thought that it was the shifter relocation just needing to be adjusted, but I've adjusted it perfectly now, and it's not the shifter relocation. The person that built the transmission or rebuilt the transmission just messed up something with second gear. And since it's been 3 years and I'm in another state, there's no way that I can take that back to them and be like, yo, you messed this up 3 years ago. And no, this is just not gonna work. So that was essentially a waste of money. But in order to replace the transmission or do anything with the transmission, everything has to come out. I finally got the car to this point. I'm not trying to take everything out right now. Plus, when it comes to this transmission, I'm getting rid of it. I'm not even going to begin to deal with trying to get this rebuilt again. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the CD09 out and I'm gonna buy a brand new with warranty factory CDOA transmission straight from Nissan. That way it's already built to pre-specs or to OEM specs. There should be no anything with that transmission, and if it is, I can send it right back to them with the warranty. However, that shit costs money. And just like I said, I finally got this thing driving. I'm not trying to rip it all apart right now immediately anyway. And I'm saving up the money for the coilovers now regardless. So big purchases coming for the car means more time between videos while I'm just saving money and this is sitting here. So the first one's gonna be the coilovers. The second big purchase will probably be the transmission. And then eventually after that, I'm gonna go and do another big purchase for a full roll cage that I'm gonna put in. And then after that, that's pretty much it for the big purchases for the time being. So yeah, like I said, all things considered, it actually drives pretty damn smooth. Once these coilovers are fixed or replaced, and once I have second gear again with the CDOA transmission, on top of that, CDOA is stronger than the CDO9 and better than the CDO9, so it's an upgrade anyway. But yeah, once all that stuff's taken care of, this thing will probably drive like a dream, provided nothing else happens with it. So that's the end of this video. I'll just say like, comment, subscribe, follow the build, and until next time.